Yo, what up, peeps? This is a very random and rare transmission from the Leo King in total chill mode. But we do have a lot of questions for people to get answered. And I thought that I would take this moment to answer a bunch of questions for people while I'm in my robe, chilling in a bed, which is usually the last place that people ever see me. And I am not drinking a Sprite. It's still a lemon lime, but... Alright, so people are miserable right now. We don't want that. Let's start looking at some of these questions. Let's look at this one. Can the Uranus aspect be positive? If so, how can you tell how it will affect you? I'm a Taurus. So, let's see. Can the Uranus aspect be positive? Of course it can. All Uranus's job is positivity. It's a positive planet. It is ruled by Aquarius. It wants to get you to a better place. Now, in Taurus is a feminine sign. It's an earth sign. It rules more of a negative polarity, believe it or not, as the positives are the male signs and the negatives are the female signs. But Uranus and Taurus wants us to be better, to understand our skills and to understand that we truly can find our power within ourselves, of our own values and our appreciations of the quality of who we are as a person. Because Uranus is not only ruling of humanity and other people, but it rules the uniqueness of yourself. And so Taurus, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus, it deals with this unique form of your own beauty, your own skill sets, your own self that really has the power to create. And that's what Taurus wants to do, is create. So the positive element of Uranus and Taurus really is about 100% allowing yourself to trust in your skills to create. So if you start doubting yourself, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to manifest this, or I don't know if I can keep this in my life, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to sustain, because there's a deep part of Taurus about sustainability. So whenever you feel like you have Venus, right, and Taurus I have something, I don't think I can sustain it anymore. I don't know if I can sustain making money anymore. I don't know if I can hold on to this relationship anymore and sustain it. I don't know if I can hold on to this job anymore and sustain it. I don't know if I can handle the world anymore and sustain it and have it in my life. It also brings up self-worth at probably the deepest core. So if you have problems looking in the mirror and seeing something wrong, Uranus is going to smack you in the face. And the positive of Uranus is it's going to make you want to look into that mirror and find every part of yourself that you really like. And this is really important because we have Chiron, which is in Aries. So when you have Chiron, which is in Aries, there's that other part of ourselves, that identification, that feels like it's a little bit misunderstood at the moment of ourselves. Like, should I be this person? Could I go this way? And especially when you have Jupiter and Sag right now, there's a lot of questions to, is this my right path? Am I on the wrong path now in my life? Did I screw up with this Mercury retrograde starting tomorrow in Pisces, with this new moon on Neptune in Pisces, with a full moon in Libra coming on the on the equinox? There's a lot of this where I would say that you have to now know what you want fully. And that's what Uranus wants. It wants some sort of equation to answer. So if you don't have a definition with Chiron and Aries, you're still on the fence, especially on this. This is going to be a year where people are emotionally on the fence, or what people work in our lives, because this is definitely a full moon coming here in Libra after all these shifts in 2 weeks. That is going to be exactly when the sun comes on Chiron, right? At 0 and 1 degree, but it's with the full moon opposing it in Libra, exact. And so you're going to have to really dig deep, and we all are. I think one part of Uranus that's going to teach everybody is the other part is when you become too cocky, right? A lot of people think it's Leo that's cocky. It's Taurus that's the cocky one. Like, oh, I can do this. I have, right? So like, we'll use an example of a very Taurus cocky thing. Like, I'm cocky because I have $1 million. What are you talking about? I can afford that TV, right? But then maybe, like, let's use the guy from Fire Festival, right? Like, okay, yeah, I got a bunch of money. I could do that. But then, really, do you? Like, did you overextend yourself, or did you do all this, or do you even have the worth, or is it even your money? Because Taurus is about your own stuff, right? So if you're too cocky about things that you have, maybe Uranus will show you, like, okay, let's test it. Let's really see if it is. So I think coming into Uranus and Taurus is about a humble element of your worth and value. Of course, owning that, but having a humble, like, what can I do that's something great with it? And let me learn something new about it. Like, for me, I might be great at astrology, but I'm not the best that I could be. I could be better. I could be a better astrologer. So I'm not going to say that I'm the best astrologer in the world. I'm not going to say that I know astrology better than anybody else, because I don't. And no, I don't think anybody else does. But that's the whole point, is like taking that element in yourself and going, you know what? I'm great at this, but I want to be better. And that's the positive element there. So let's move to another question here. Where's the exact? Oh yeah, here's a good one real quick. When is the exact day and time of the portal opening? So I am predicting that this portal is opening tomorrow, and I would do it. It's going to be exactly when Mercury retrogrades. So I would say that it's going to come through the later part of Tuesday in American time, and more of the late night European Tuesday into Wednesday morning. So we're pretty much, I would say, less than 24 hours away. We're like at the brink right now of this portal opening. Let's see what other questions we have here. Okay, here we are. This is a good one. Lately have run into so many roadblocks and feeling unsure of what to do next. This is a good one. These are not roadblocks. These are moments of pause to process and to understand where is the better route in life. So you're not blocked, you're not unsure. All you are is making a choice inside of a better route. And so with that comes taking the time, taking information in, and processing things to go, you know what? Okay, I can go this way, or I can go that way, or I can go even any direction I want to go. But what feels that's going to give me, and I'm speaking as you and yourself, that you have to ask yourself, like, what is it in myself that I feel is the best for me, that's going to fulfill me and make me feel valuable in myself, make me feel good, just in general, like, just make me feel good, and make me feel that I'm going to go create something great that's going to help the world, that's going to be positive, and that's going to be in alignment with a higher universal light that we all are coming to do and be here. So there's a lot of that positive, and very beautiful element to all this. And it's in that moment before, which it could feel like a roadblock. It could feel like there's a lot of things that are stopping things. But what they are just like checkpoints. And they're checkpoints of saying, okay, I know I really want this, but the checkpoint is saying, like, I want you to go take a look at this other way to come in. I want you to also look at this other way to come in. Because I just want to make sure that before you enter into this portal and you enter into this new thing, that you don't feel like you can look back and go, oh, maybe I should have gone that way. So don't think of this as a roadblock time. Think of this as you've got a lot of options of which elevator to take, right? So instead of just pushing the button, I want to go up to my room, right? It's like, well, like especially because I'm in Las Vegas right now. One thing about Vegas I love are the elevators. They're so cool, but if you notice, there's certain elevators for different towers of floors. So you go to one side of an elevator, it'll say like, like where I'm at now, it's like floors 34 through like 73. Those are the only elevators that take you to there. And then there's elevators that only go from like floors 1 to 34 or 33 or whatever, right? So you got to kind of look at it as like, before you get on this elevator, it doesn't mean that 1 through 34 are bad floors or not high enough or whatever. There's a lot of different things in life we want, and they're on certain levels and they're on certain places, and none of them are better than the other. It's what's best for you and what best feels for you in your life. So it's about making sure that just before you just push a button and walk into an elevator because it's like you want to go high and you want to go up, that where is the exact place that you want to go up, and to take a look at those things and maybe take a look at the map, maybe read the little side. Whenever you go to like a medical center and you push the elevator, they always have like that little list, it'll be like, oh, on floor 2 there's these doctors, and then on floor 3 there's these doctors. Like, this is a point of us going, if I'm going to go up, maybe I would feel better being around, let's say, heart doctors, because maybe I need some heart chakra work. Now I'm adding kind of like a spiritual center for the future of doctors. Like, people will go to a doctor because they're having a heart chakra issue or a love issue, not because they're having issues health-wise. Like, this would be preventive medicine in the future, I feel. I don't think that people are going to be going to the doctors when they finally get hit with something. I think it'll be like, you know what, I haven't been feeling good in my heart lately. I should go see a doctor on that floor that's going to be dealing with that stuff. So think of it that way. What is the preventative place that you are trying to understand that you want to go that's going to help you? And with especially with love or relationship stuff that's going on right now, there's a lot of this self-needing of reapplying what you really want in your life in your own Taurus individual self. That's what Uranus and Taurus is hard. Uranus and Taurus in Aries is hard, because the first two signs of the zodiac, Aries and Taurus, are single-oriented signs. You have to remember that. So what most of us have all lived through since Uranus was in Libra, okay, and it went all the way to Pisces, which ended in 2010. And if you go to Uranus and Libra, you get into like the 50s and so forth. So you look at that, I mean, it really all depends. Or the 70s, and then I think, so the 50s was Uranus and Leo, and then the 60s is Uranus and Virgo. So you can pretty much take it from like the end of the 60s to now. The Uranus did a halfway on the bottom of the zodiac, which deals with much more of an externalization of things, like making sure, like, I want to go in the elevator up with these people, or I want to go up in the elevator, but this is a very singular element now. And so everybody's kind of taking a little bit of a assess, process, and go, this is what I need, this is what I want, and this is where I'm going, Let's see here. This is a good one. The question is, physical symptoms from portal. Is this a real thing or psychosomatic? Thanks. There could definitely be some physical symptoms, of course, but I think that it's a little bit more psychosomatic. The reason why I would say that is because we have a lot of karmic energy that we have written over the last decade, and a lot of this stuff is coming to an end. And so when that happens, is our psychology, without even realizing, especially the subconscious, is starting to reach this point to where we're coming to a completion zone of what we learned, what we've done, what lessons we've learned, what we don't want to do, what we do want to do now, and coming into a whole new portal where we're about to write a bunch of new karma. So, it's kind of a psychosomatic thing of like being aware of past situations that have happened and how they're all kind of coming up all at once and converging right now, right? There's a lot of convergence in the universe right now because you got all these transits shifting and changing the whole storyboard. But it's like when a book closes or you come to the end of a movie, everything feels like the whole story is finally coming to this one point of the end, right? So all the characters that were introduced, all the dramas, the highs, the lows, the middles that were in there, does it look like it's going to fail? Does it look like it's not going to make it? And at the end of every story, what happens? It always makes it. There's very few movies that end negative, if that makes sense. So, and sleep has definitely been an issue for a lot of people because it's hard for us to, for some people, they might toss and turn. Or for somebody like me, I'm constantly on the grind trying to get the information out, or I'm processing things, or I'll be honest, I'm avoiding maybe some of the psychosomatic stuff by just staying busy. And so I would rather be busy and then get to a point where I'm really tired and then fall asleep. Because then at least I can fall asleep easy instead of sitting there in bed, not doing much except processing and not doing anything busy. But I'm at a point too where even in myself, it's like I have to change my schedule and my way in this new cycle to do the things I want to do. So, don't be hard on yourself for whatever that you're going through if you're not sleeping or not. And I think that one of the best things of advice I can give anybody right now is to not let other people kind of try and, force things on you. People who love you are going to give you great advice, and maybe you'll listen to it, maybe you won't, but they're not going to push it on you. And so, like if somebody just wrote a procrastination. So if I were to tell you, oh, you're procrastinating, why don't you just get up earlier and do it? Or why don't you just, go drink a cup of coffee or something? Or why don't you go take a walk and listen to your favorite music and maybe come back and see if you can do it? That's just giving some advice and then just kind of like letting things be. But then it's this other form of consciousness from people kind of projecting like, you are procrastinating, this is the issue. You need to do this and you need to do that. And if you don't, it's kind of like this like negative thing. And it doesn't feel good, it almost feels violating. And so this is where a lot of dark energy is coming around right now to tell people, hey, don't allow violation from others. And that violation from others is creating a violation within yourself. And it feels volatile. And it could even, I guess, if I were to use the term, feel like you've been, I don't know, like that you're guilty or something. So be easy on yourself, but look at the triggers of what people are telling you or reacting to your life and how you're dealing with it right now. And how is that causing the violation? Or are you basing this off the beliefs of others? There's a lot to think about there. So this one's a pretty generic question, but I think it's a good one. Does this portal affect any signs in particular, or will it hit everyone? So it's going to hit everyone. In particular, it's like, sure, it's going to hit Taurus big. It's going to hit Scorpio. It's going to hit Leo. And it's going to hit Aquarius. Because these are fixed signs. So Uranus entering into a fixed sign is going to be making its most intense aspects. Of course, it makes positive aspects to all the earth signs. And it makes sextiles all to the air, water signs. And then it makes weird quincunxes and stuff over to the air signs. I would say that the fixed signs, right? Like And especially, like, this is a point in people's lives, especially when you look at these points, that, like, we have to learn that when Uranus moves into a fixed sign, Uranus just spent this whole, 8-year transit to get you there. Now it's about sustainability and holding things down. So it's going to affect us all into where are your issues that are not raising you to a higher level of holding things down and sustaining them. Because no matter how much we look like we can sustain things in our life, Uranus is going to show us that things that are not sustainable and ways to keep them sustainable, or maybe throw them out and show you what is better sustainable. And it's that hard truth when you deal with Taurus, or you deal with Venus energy, with Uranus in that sign, because we tend to want to hold on to things. We don't want to let it go in Venus and Taurus. We don't want to let go in Taurus at all. We want to hold on. This is what makes me feel secure and safe physically. This is what I like. Like, I like these sheets. I like these clothes. I like my hair this way. I like this. I like that. Like, so people start, because now it's dealing with Leo, so it's dealing with, your heart and your image of your inner soul. It's dealing with Scorpio, your passions, your depth, your deeper connection. And it's dealing with Aquarius, the way that you do connect and how maybe you disconnect. And also the kind of people that are around that create either sustainable life or unsustainable life. So those were some of the questions that came through from, I guess, this Instagram question thing. So I'll take like maybe 2 more questions here in the chat before I go. I know my moon in Taurus is totally out right now, right? Just totally chilling in a robe, in a bed, and just chilled back. And if anybody's going to ask a question, I would stay away from individual sun signs or your own chart, because it's not fair to all the other people in here, if that makes sense. Somebody wrote relationships, so we'll talk about that. So with the relationship thing, I mean, Venus is in Aquarius, but it is in the zone right now during this portal opening of where Mars was retrograde. Okay? It also is at the position of the lunar eclipse that happened on July 27th. So it's going to make squares to Mars during this portal. We have a full moon in Libra coming up on the equinox. So this is definitely starting to find relationships that are in alignment with what is sustainable to your true self, of your own worth, what makes you feel good and what makes you feel connected to who you really are. And there's a little bit of a wishy-washy energy in all relationships because of the fact that we've gone through a major Venus transit. We have a Mercury retrograde happening in Pisces, where we're kind of in an individualized clearing things out of our lives. We're all wishy-washy, but also at the same time, we are seeing directly into the universe very clearly right now. We are seeing directly into our own self and to our own divine love and self, I would say. And it's hard because these are points in life where, when it comes to whether it's a friend, a lover, a business partner, that you have to kind of go, what feels divine in yourself. And it's hard at this point because no matter how much the Saturn and Pluto Capricorn energy has been, it becomes like you have to realize it's not about breaking rules, because really it's about reapplying what the rules mean. So like saying like, well, I'm best friends, we went to high school together, blah, 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 right? But let's say you guys are just not in a really good, true, kinetic vibe. Just because they're your friend forever doesn't mean that you have to hold that in actuality, like, I'm friends with people that I've been friends with for years, roommates with, whatever, and some people, like, are not on the same path as me, like, but it's about learning. Somebody said holding space, and but like, just going on to a different place. I think that marriages is the hardest part, because this is the Saturn-Pluto cycle that is ending from 83, and it's closing here in 19. So, or people who are getting engaged, or people who are committing in new relationships and expecting kind of the old traditional way of a relationship and how it looks. It kind of doesn't work that way anymore. And so people kind of feel, when they're in those places right now, I think, trapped, stuck, and in a jail. And that's just using astrology. I think that a lot of people, and it bases off sometimes your own individual chart, which that can be harder for people who are really relationship-based and oriented and derive their whole life from that. When these are very singular energies trying to come into alignment with your true power and your true ability to be and to create from your true self, if the relationship is in a misalignment and you're holding on to it because you have to, there's no rule book that says you have to in anything. It really is about learning. If it's not there, if it's not good, no matter what, right? Oh my God, what will my parents think? Or what will my friends think? Or what will the community think? Or what will social media think? Or, oh my gosh, like, feeling guilty for being yourself, and how you really are. So, it's a wild one. And I think that people can be a little delusional too right now about relationships, about what they seek will actually be more in alignment with them. And so it's important to kind of like process it deep and really look through the fog and kind of like, not overhype it all too much right now. There's way too much Neptune, Sun energy with a new moon that's going to be through a whole month, with a Mars and Venus square, with a lunar or full moon in Libra, the day of the new year in paganism, on March 20th and 21st. Like, we're having this huge shift, especially with relationships. So that's going to be kind of the interesting part through all this, I would say. I think it's important for people to try and understand. It's okay to talk. It's okay to look. But I also think that it's not time to take things so seriously or put way too much pressure on yourself about them, or pressure on yourself about not doing what you want to do, So somebody asked the question, so should we stay put for now? I mean, the truth is that anybody who's even questioning staying put right now means that they have not been paying attention to the signs for the last 6 months since, or let's say 5 months since the retrograde. And even going back into last year, or people who are trying to push through relationships that might have come about during this retrograde. That was in October, November. Like, that's why we do not, as astrologers say, get in a relationship during a Venus retrograde, right? So, and then there's a little bit of like this reality of codependency between every soul on the planet that's going to come out with this full moon in 2 weeks, with the Libra element, and with Mars square Venus, and Uranus now with Mars and Taurus, of like, are you just trying to connect to find value through someone else because you don't feel like you have that power within yourself? Like, do you feel like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have this person in my life, so I won't be able to do this. I have to have this person in my life in order to do that. I mean, that's going to be the test. So really, I don't think stagnant is a good thing, because it almost is just going to triple down on showing you more of why you feel codependent about, oh, I don't have the power to do what I want to do without this person. I'm not able to do this without this in my life. When you are. So I hope that helps. I think that's one of the biggest things, is what is it out of this relationship that you're trying to push yourself so much to have that you don't have within yourself? And, I as an astrologer, one thing that you realize is, like, the whole world, no matter how many 7 billion people there are on the planet, like, with astrology, like, not everybody's in a relationship, and not everybody that's in a relationship is going to get out of a relationship. So, but, I think that's where we can take this relationship aspect and we can apply it to a different version of how we look at our world and humanity and all of how everyone's living these individual lives. But how many people are actually following a divine clock of God? Like, if it feels like nothing and it feels like you are lost if you do not follow this divine clock. So imagine, I'll be real. I was in Vegas last night, and I got back here to the hotel when it was sunrise. So the clock system, it's when most people are waking up. I'm looking down on the strip, and everybody's going to work or whatever. I see, retired couples who probably got up at 5:30, already showered, or even earlier, and already had their breakfast, and they're, like, walking somewhere, and I'm, like, fucking just getting to the hotel, you know what I mean? So think about how the whole world is kind of like me, showing up whenever they want, not kind of going with the cycle of the world, and kind of, like, feeling a little different and outcast, because maybe that you are holding on so tight to your free will of how you want things to be, and denial of what's above, denial of what is being said, denial of where God wants us to go. So somebody asked if karma was speeding up. I would say that it's more just the convergence energy of it all reaching its peak. So it's not that it's sped up, it's that it's all caught up with itself from all angles. So anyway, what was I going to say? I don't think it's a scary time. I know somebody wrote scary. I really feel it's not scary. Somebody's hearing Craig listening to The Office in the background. Hey, Craigie, they're loving your office, bro.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, bro. People are like, The Office, LOL.
I do what I can,
Yeah, see, Craig's teaching you all right now just to follow the universe. Just watch The Office. It was funny. I'll be real. I like The Office. I'm not a super fan. We watched an episode today during lunch, and it was really good. So I was like, oh, actually, this show's pretty good. And I've given it a lot of tries. I've probably watched 20, 30 episodes in my life, and I've always been like, I'm more of a Seinfeld guy. But The Office was good. We watched a funny one, Somebody asked Craig, what's up with that Venmo link? I have no idea. What, you want to send us some money on Venmo? Go look up at the Leo King on Venmo. Send as much as you want. Send as much as you want. I will put my Venmo everywhere if you want it. At the Leo King. Pretty simple. Whatever you guys want to send me, please send away. I would love it. It would be awesome. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. I saw my mom was in here. Hi, Mom. I stayed in Vegas one more night to rest and not drive back. And because we have such a busy week, I was like, I told Craig, and he was in complete agreement, that we should relax in our suite and chill. So, which I've been doing. I've like been taking this whole day off and just, stretching, wearing a robe, going on the balcony, taking naps. We had smoothies delivered, room service that were really good, some fresh juices, some hummus, some vegetables. We had a couple salads. Yeah. I know. We're trying to be good boys, Mom. You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta live your life. I think that part of this too for everybody with Mercury going retrograde tomorrow is like surrendering is sometimes gonna bring you everything you need. So when somebody was asking about certain relationships, like, is this my time to leave or to just kind of hold on? Like, there is kind of an element of us just like, like just learning to let go. And for me, I've been very wound up. So, and of course, see, that's a subconscious thing. When somebody starts like itching or doing something, or okay, when they're bringing up something, that's how you know it's a trigger in themselves. So I'm bringing up one of my own triggers that I know when people have been asking me, like, hey, yo, are you okay? Are you taking care of yourself? You don't look healthy. Some people have been telling me I don't look healthy. I'm like, really? I mean, maybe I'm just like fooling myself because I'm on social media so much and I'm on camera so much. But I've been to the doctor 4 times in 2019 alone. And everything's come back normal and good. And my mom tells me every day, who I came out of her womb, the only person I trust the most in my whole life is my mother, because I came out of that womb. And my mother raised me in her womb for 9 months. And my mom can feel me. And so when my mom tells me that I'm okay and that I'm healthy, I know that. But there's a different part of spiritual health. And so I would say that I am in good spiritual health and some days not. And I would say that a lot of that just comes towards over worrying about life. And I think worrying about just stupid stuff. And then I think that there is this test. I did come from a Virgo queen. Typical Leo with a Virgo mother, right? Like, born of a virgin. Yeah, one person been overworking. I think that I've been, I tend to overwork. I'm also changing my life, right? And my mom says they're the best with growth. So I'm growing, I'm learning to kind of hand the reins off to other people, teaching people and letting people give me advice instead of me only doing things the way that I've done it. And so people don't realize that is challenging in itself. So people think it's like, oh, burnout, but it's like, and I get that from lack of rest. But, it's funny because even with my lack of rest, I feel like I'm running circles around people, which I am, and I will admit that. Because to me, it's all about what you put out in the world and what you're doing. But that's how I live, you know? So when people tell me burnout, it's like, you're telling me burnout, but what are you pushing out? You know? If that makes sense. Like, so I don't know if it's like burnout, like physical, adrenal. People get too caught up in physical stuff. I don't want to say transcend physical because I don't think that's bullshit. But I was going to say that I allow myself to realize that, like, sure, there's a physical part and I could always be better, but it's all coming from the inside, whatever's going on, you know? And so, sure, I've been emotional about a lot of changes in my life in the last couple months. I've moved. I've had to create a new schedule that I have not done well with adjusting to, because I started this 7 years ago and I created it in a certain way, right? So I created this whole business a certain way. And then the problem happened was in 2017, and I'm just going to be straight up, I made a lot of money and I lived the life of luxury, and it was just, all I had to do was make some videos every day for my app, do some readings every day, do my school, do my events and my tours. And I'll be real with you, if you only knew, I literally was like, that was it. I look back to like a year and 4 months ago and I go, did I make a dumb choice by trying to make the studios and hire employees and go bigger? I wonder, like, did I make a huge mistake? See, do you remember that this is not burnout as much as adjustment, right? I chose to take on something bigger than myself. And I could have easily just sat and living in like luxury and living in full-blown, I just had like cash coming out of my butt, like literally. And I could do whatever I wanted all the time. And as you all know, you see me, I've bought in everything I've ever wanted. I started a race team. I bought a million things. So, but I decided, I go, there's nothing left. I got to a point to where, and it might sound sad, I'm like, I have bought in everything. Now, I'm not really into buying land or buying stuff like that. But as far as like, just, like, I've literally bought in everything. So I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I need to invest this money into something greater than myself. And so a lot of people do charity work or something like that. I feel like High Vibe is charity work. I feel like deep astrology is charity work because I don't get paid for deep astrology, right? I don't get paid for it. And I have to pay Craig. I have to pay that whole 13,000 square foot facility. And there's been a lot of other people that have sacrificed a lot for all that too, with their money, with their time. And that's all charity work in a way. And so I've had to go from the adjustment for a year and 4 months of just literally my bank account looking like, I mean, literally, like, you don't even get it, probably, but some people do. We literally don't have a worry in the world. And choosing that I didn't want to live that way. And I've been fine the whole time, but I mean, it's an adjustment to watch playing the game of risk with business and expanding and then we're moving Future Life to High Vibe, and we did High Vibe beta, and now High Vibe's moving to the new app, and it's all going to be one, and how much money that's cost, and paying all the employees and paying it and paying that facility, the Leo King Studios, High Vibe Studios, is 13,000 square feet. You do the math per square foot, percent of how many cents per square foot in your head. Go look around at commercial real estate in Southern California. Just think of how much that is, not including employees, taxes, insurance, all of those things, cars, insurance, car loans, jet ski racing, my trailer, right? I mean, that's not even including like food, haircuts, like, you know what I mean? Someone was close with that number. It's more like 50K a month to push. PR, right? So, but you can make it all happen. I like Ty Lopez because he talks about numbers freely. He's done very well with showing people you can have a great success with whatever you do. It doesn't matter what the number is. Because look at what like Apple has to clear a month, even though they're in massive surplus. But look at what Steve Jobs had to do. He had to take risk. He actually borrowed money from Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the one who saved Apple. You know. So I think Uranus and Taurus, somebody just put good or bad for financial planning. I think it's great for financial planning. You're almost forced to financially plan. You know? So, but, you know, so when people ask me if I'm okay or stressed, it's just adjustments and growth. My mom put it the best growth. While dealing with my own personal stuff that nobody needs to know. I have my own personal relationships. I have my own personal life. I have my own personal world. And that's separate from this. And I don't have to give you all that stuff. But that's also why, like, with the high vibe light worker school we're doing, I'm doing spiritual e-commerce business because I'm going to teach people the do's, the don'ts, and show people the way to make this work to where I got to where I was even before I am now, and how I got to where I am now, and how it's actually going so great and what it's doing, and how to do it from a spiritual point of view without getting rid of the spiritual, like, truth within yourself. Because I think a lot of people in the spiritual community, when they become spiritual and then they become a business, they let the business overcome their spirituality, and they lose themselves. They lose that spiritual self, and they become only business, you know, and then they lose that ability to still continue to do the work and show up. And so there's a lot of tools and there's a lot of skills in that school to do that, whether you're psychic or whether you're a tarot reader. And so there's a lot there, you know. Yeah, we have a screening process. I don't know if you noticed, but there's really never been anybody on any of my channels that has not been of the light, if that makes sense. You know? So, like, even who I interview, you know what I mean? So, the retrograde is not horrible for travel. There's going to be a lot of weird travel stuff. I've been telling people, and I told people in Phoenix, touch the plane, touch the train, touch your car before you walk in it. Before you cross the street, look both ways 4 times. Before you get on a bicycle, make sure that the tires are done. Make sure that the chain is good. Make sure you're wearing the right equipment. You know what I mean? Like, if it feels wrong, don't go on it. Book the next flight. If it feels wrong on the train, wait for the next one. If it feels wrong to drive right now, take a 5-minute break, go back to your car, touch it again. It's not saying not travel. It's just saying being totally in tune with your travel. When signs start showing up, like a skirmish in the plane, and you can see the workers stressed, and everybody's eyeballs are like this, and everybody's tripping out, that's a sign. You know what I mean? So what does touching do? So when I touch a plane, it's like touching a dog, touching yourself. What do you do when you're not feeling good, when you're stressed? You touch your chest, Cancer, so you can feel how you're feeling and try and calm it down, right? Whenever you go through stress and you have to touch your bare chest, I'll do it even in deep astrology sometimes. I might be stressed or I might be thinking about that energy that's coming up. But when you touch a plane or a car or a person or a dog, a cat, and you want to feel what's going on. When you feel that plane, it feels peace. You know you're okay. When you feel that plane and it doesn't feel right, you touch it again, doesn't feel right, walk out. Go back and say, you know what? There's something off here. There's something that doesn't feel right for me. And I guarantee you, if you go talk to the flight people at the front, they'll move the flight to the next one. You know what I mean? So, and I think that this is teaching us in a lot of things in our life, whether it comes to new relationships, old relationships, just life. You can touch things without touching them and put your soul out and feel what feels right, what feels in alignment, where there's signs, where there's synchronicities, where they're not. So when you're in relationship trouble, there's no synchronicities. When you're in building a beautiful new relationship, it's like numbers start popping up that's the same. You know? Meeting in a very random place, through very random people, and it all just starts connecting. You're like, wow, how did we meet? Or how did this? And this is all connecting. This is all beautiful. This all makes sense. This all has it's a good alignment going on. So, you know, that's the changeover, right? And of course, I think it's important in any relationship to put as much as you can to touch and try, if it is chaotic, and whether you touch yourself or whether you touch your partner, whether you just come into a place where you find peace. But if you keep coming back to that place constantly, you know, it's kind of one of those things that, like, you know, maybe that it's just, there's not going to be that ability at that moment, or that time is done, or that karmic story's over, and it's trying to, like a dragon, release itself out, and you're letting it stay in the crazy chaotic state that it's in. It's kind of like a parasite, you know, and all it is the karmic emotion, because how do we store our memories? Emotionally is what connects to the universe and the karmic, the Akashic records. Our brains disintegrate and go back into the earth and turn into like bird feed or whatever. I don't know. Who knows, right? So, and also in yourself, if you're not feeling well, we tend to get angry at ourselves. Like, God, how did I get sick? Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. You can cut your sickness in half or even give it away even faster by just touching yourself and being like, it's okay, this is just whatever the universe wants it to be at the moment, and chilling out, if that's what you have, right? So it's like learning to just take a moment of peace and chill and allowing things to be. But you know what? Everything right now, it either looks like it makes sense or it doesn't. And you know where you want to go. And right now, this portal, and this is how I'm going to end this, while I go have a smoke. We're going to end this with a smoke. It's the right way to end it. And a little bit of serum is. I'm going to end the portal talk right now. Don't worry, I'm putting on a jacket. over the robe because it's freaking cold. This patio up here is cold. Oh, here they are. Oh, and even Craig's in his robe. Yep, he's watching The Office. How many episodes of The Office? Wait, you're watching Family Guy now. All right.
I'm multitasking now.
You can multitask. Little, yeah. So, I'll give you guys a little Vegas real quick before I go. Look out, this patio is so fucking big. Like, look at how far Craig is. Hello. Welcome. Oh, the wind. Sorry. So, the portal's pretty simple. All that matters now is what truly aligns with what makes sense. Craig is single. We have massive room service in there going on. All the ladies are wanting to know if Craig's single.
Craig is single. 32, male, Scorpio, Leo rising, Leo moon.
Yeah, he's double Leo Scorpio sun. It's a Leo fest up in here. And there's a lot of Scorpio in this place too. But whatever makes sense, that's what makes sense. Right? Follow Chief Mojo Rising on Instagram. 2 E's for the Chief. But that's it. If it doesn't make sense, leave it. Stop trying to put your energy into it. Stop trying to go so hard in a place that's not working. And you know what? It's going to reveal you what is the thing that's not working fast. Like, you might think like we'll take, for example, I made a post thinking, oh man, because I had a lot of hard things with business recently, but it wasn't actually hard. It was just like, no, maybe there's things in my life I need to change to make this business stuff go easier. So it was things in my own personal life I'm doing, not the business itself. You know what I mean? So look at it from a different angle now. You know what I mean? Like, look at it from a different angle now. Oh, thank you for all the love of deep astrology. I mean that a lot. And I mean it to everybody, that I love you all very sincerely. And I want all of us to do well and succeed. And I just want all of us to have a happy life. And all of us to feel connected with who we really are. And have a great trip. And all be in a great place of happy and love. And of course, life has challenges and stuff. But that makes it beautiful too. So... you know what I mean? And then that's how we grow and we ascend. We become better people. So that's my old roommate from Vegas calling me. I love you all. I'll see you later. I love you, and I will see you for Deep Astrology tomorrow, and then Spiritual Dance Music on Wednesday. So I love you all. Bye.